Hey, people. Okay, so story time right quick. Um, my guest and I were having an amazing conversation, and then we realized we were over in the group. We weren't even here with y'all hanging out on the page. So we had to pause everything, refocus. Okay, so now we are here, and I see y'all getting in here. Hey, y'all. Hey, go ahead, y'all, and start introducing yourself in the comments. Let me know where you are watching from. Also, let me know if this is your very first time hanging out on BBG TV. Child, that was so crazy. It was good though. So y'all gonna have to go into the Facebook group, Beautifully Shaded, and check out the first part. The part one. Okay, but at any rate, we are going to have an amazing show tonight. I see y'all coming in here, Lord. Y'all was like, where they at? We trying to get to the interview. We hear y'all. Technology be out here hating, let me tell you. But we got it under control. No worries. So, Kara, I see you in here from Cali. Welcome. Also, Fawn is in here from South Jersey, Philly, checking in. Welcome, welcome. So excited to have you all. So, for the sake of the fact that we are here where we're supposed to be, y'all, let me go ahead and do all my official things, right? That's supposed to happen. Hey, Elise over in Reno. Welcome, welcome, welcome to you. So let me get my sparkles and my things up here, child. That was too much, I tell you. But listen, flexibility is a thing, and that is what we are, okay? So listen, this is Brown Girl Boss, right? And I need to know one, if you've been here before. So if you hang out with me all the time, every other week on Brown Girl Boss, go ahead and type "Hey Beautiful" in the comments. If this is your very first time hanging out with me here on Brown Girl Boss, go ahead and type "first time" in the comments. I love to celebrate first timers. I get really excited when we get new people in the community because you'll see like all the amazing things that we do. I also would like for you all to stop for a moment and share the broadcast right now, because the people don't know where we at, y'all. So we got to make sure that we help them find us. Okay. So if you will pause right now, share the broadcast, tag at least 3 of your friends. Let me tell you what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about strong Black woman syndrome. We're talking about motherhood. We are talking about mindfulness and how do we get connected back to our bodies. Y'all know mental health is something that I'm super, super passionate about. And I am so excited for our guest tonight. Her energy is infectious and I can't wait for y'all to meet her. Hey, Cynthia. Oh, okay. So Cynthia, you got to come back and catch the replay. Okay. Or put your earbud in. So, you know, quiet in the house, right? You can listen at the same time. Because listen, we talking about you, okay? Motherhood. All right, so I see y'all. Okay, so again, this is BBG TV Brown Girl Boss. This is our virtual platform that allows us to connect with other like-minded women who are on a mission to live their very best lives. We come to you weekly with programming that will challenge and inspire you and get the conversation going to connect with other beautiful brown girls. My name is Kimberland. I'm an educational consultant and advocate. I'm a life coach. I am an author, a blogger, an actor, a model, and I'm your host for Brown Girl Boss. Super excited to be here with you all tonight. And I'm actually joining you from Mexico City, Mexico. So again, if you haven't had an opportunity to let me know where you are watching from, if you'll go ahead and drop that into the comments so that I can shout you out. And I see y'all here. Elise said this is her 3rd time. We are so excited to have you, Elise. Welcome, welcome. Gabrielle is here from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Welcome. And is it Dara? First timer, so excited to have you. Welcome to the party. Okay. All right. Now, y'all, I need you to get your questions ready, because while we have our guest here, like we need to get all we can get. Okay, so make sure that you are asking your questions in the comments, and I'll go ahead and pull those up while we're talking. Patrice, I see you here from Arizona over on YouTube. Welcome, welcome. Ginger is here from Oakland, and Sabrina is here from North Carolina. Kara, I'm gonna give you the very short part of a long story. I'm in Mexico City because the U.S. makes me weary. That's it. Okay, so we'll have to talk another time, girl, about that and how that brought me here. All right, and I see Inglewood, California is in the house as well. Gisela is here from San Diego. Y'all, okay, y'all here. Okay, exciting. All right, so let me tell you about our guest tonight, y'all. So tonight we have with us. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. I was about to choke. Tonight we have with us Tacha Fletcher. She's a licensed clinical social worker and certified holistic life coach with over 10 years in the mental health field. Tacha founded Wellness Tree Counseling Services LLC, mental health and wellness practice to continue providing holistic mental health and wellness services to culturally diverse communities. Tacha specializes in working with Black, Indigenous women of color to address a wide variety of mental health concerns with a focus on treating attachment-related trauma, depression, and anxiety. Within her coaching practice, Tacha uses an intuitive and holistic approach to work with eager and motivated women who aim to take actions to move ahead in their career, business, or relationships. Tacha has been featured in a lot of places, y'all, and I'm going to just name a few, okay? So she's been featured in Voyage LA, Psych Central, Living Fulfilled Podcast, Pollen Magazine, and We Buy Black. And tonight, y'all, she is featured here on Beautiful Brown Girls, Brown Girl Buzz, all right? So let's get Tacha in here. Hey, girl.
Hey. I'm still laughing about earlier.
Y'all, we was just a talking. We were just a talking, and all of a sudden it was like, where the people at? Like, why they not hanging out with us tonight? We was kind of sad on the inside, okay? And then we realized we was on the wrong page. So here we are. Take two, right? Yes. Take two. That helped us to knock the dust off and just get ready and limber and all the things. All right. Okay. So if you will, Tacha, start us off again for the sake of the women that are here in this space right now. Tell us your origin story and how you got into your field, please, and thank you.
Yes. So we're gonna take it back. Right? Take it back to younger self, right? So how I got here, I think, was really driven by just my own childhood experiences, life experiences, being the youngest and the only girl in a single parent Haitian household, right? So if we have any Haitians in here, that can be really loaded in itself. And so, from very early on in life, caregiving came very natural for me. Troubleshooting came naturally for me. Advocacy came naturally for me. And even as the youngest, I was often called on to do a lot of what I see now as adult responsibilities in the home. And then, of course, going through, traditional household, right? Education was really important, in a Haitian household. And so I'm a fast forward to my college days, thinking I'm about to, go in as a psychology major. And I kid you not, this was the first time what I considered then failed, in school. I got a D in my psych class and I just didn't know what to do with myself, right? It really knocked me down, right? And so, of course, went into troubleshooting mode, met with my college advisor, and I was placed on a social work track. And so that's how I got introduced to the social work field. I didn't necessarily know what I was going to do with that next, but through that process, I ended up, finding out what it meant to be a social worker. And, through my various life experiences, someone once said to me, when life gives you lemon, make lemonade. Yes. Right? And I truly think that through my own experiences, that's exactly what I've done. And that's been a motto for my practice, right? So life give you lemon, make lemonades, because at some point, we can't always choose the cards that life deals us. Right. But we can make something out of it. And to see where I am now in my career, in my business, in my personal life, truly came from day one, from, my birth into the world, into every experience that I've embraced for myself.
I love that. So you were born for this.
I was born for this, but I didn't notice. I didn't know it, because it didn't always feel natural for me, right? Yeah. And I didn't always feel confident. I didn't always feel like, I was in alignment. I didn't always feel like I knew what I was doing, or I
Mm.
belonged in the spaces that I've been in.
Mm.
So, as excited and as passionate as I am today, I can't say that that was me then, right? So yeah.
So I want to dig in deeper on that because I'm glad that you said that, because I am certain that there are some of us who are watching here and we're like, yeah, girl, about this journey. What work did you do to understand and accept and embrace um, the track that you were on, even though you didn't know what it would look like, 10 years down the road? What was that process like for you to actually embrace this and walk in this and understand that this is where you're supposed to be the whole time?
Yeah, yeah. So the first thing that came to me, lots of crying, lots of tears.
Girl.
If we're gonna be honest,
Yeah.
it was a lot of just dealing with really big emotions, right? Feeling confused at times, and then eventually recognizing that this process can't be done alone, right?
Mm.
And while I'm a therapist today, and I encourage therapy for everyone, regardless of where you are at in your life. I can't say that was the same message that
Right.
I received growing up, right, in a Haitian household, right, in the Black community. But somehow, some way, I found myself on the other end of that relationship. So through
Mm.
therapy, through lots of journaling and self-reflection and being honest with
Mm.
myself, which
Mm.
eventually allowed me to, get to a place of acceptance. And so I think through that work collectively, it allowed
Mm.
me to get to a place where, I can actually look myself in the mirror and be proud.
Mm. You just said a lot.
Mhm.
But it makes me think about the word that you said was being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And you started this off by saying, there were a lot of tears and there were, it was hard, just to keep it very frank. So what I wonder, I had shared with you that I had just done a mental health panel recently, and the mental health panel was all about allowing ourselves to feel.
Mhm.
And I know that something you talk about all the time is mindfulness. You just mentioned journaling, like you mentioned these different strategies, if you will. Talk to me about the feelings. And like, so I'm infamous for saying, I don't feel like feeling. I don't, like, I got stuff to do today. I ain't got time. Okay. So I feel tomorrow, next week, when I have time, right? Because life is steady going and I'm trying to do life.
Yeah.
But I've been recently trying to be more intentional about leaning into my feelings and allowing myself to feel. But it was a real process of what that looks like. So I'd like for
Mhm.
you to talk to me a little bit about the process of feeling, because I think it's very easy to say, yeah, I was crying in hindsight.
Yeah.
Yeah, girl, I was crying, right? But like in the moment, to have that emotional integrity, to be able to go to your people and be like, yo, I'm not okay. Like,
Yeah.
how do we handle that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first thing I would say is start to change our relationship and our understanding of feelings, our emotions, right?
Okay.
And when I
Okay.
say that, what I mean is that a lot of times we think we can pick and choose the feelings we want to feel.
Yeah, I do.
I'm gonna feel happiness. I'm gonna feel
Yes.
excited. I'm gonna
That's
feel
it.
lit. That's
That's
it.
it. Mm-mm.
But I won't allow myself to feel sad, anger, frustrated, right? But I reframe that by saying emotions, feelings are energy that's
Mm-hmm.
running through our bodies,
Okay.
and they come with messages.
Mm-hmm.
So when we allow ourselves to feel, irregardless of the categories that we put these feelings in, we can attune to the messages that comes with those feelings. You following?
I am.
Mm-hmm.
I
So,
am. You got me thinking.
right, that's the point, right? So, if I'm going to pick and choose the emotions that I allow myself to feel, then I'm picking and choosing the experiences. And sometimes it's going to be a muddy process to get to the other side, right? We got to allow ourselves to feel the feelings so we can kind of get to the other side. But when we're doing that picking and choosing, we might be leaving our blessings behind and we don't even know it, right? We
Yeah.
might be leaving behind that dream that we are working and striving toward because we're not allowing ourselves to fully what's the word, fully indulge into the process. And the process is not always going to be pretty, right? I think we live in a world that tells us, it got to look good, it got to feel good, it
For
got to
sure.
be good, right? But no, no, right? Because, to piggyback, we were talking earlier about success includes failure.
Right.
Success includes fumbling the ball, right? And so, because of that, we have to learn to accept all the full ranges
The
of our
totality of
emotions,
it.
right? Because there's messages that are ingrained in it. And if we're not tuning in, we're missing out.
Yeah, I feel that, and on this message tip, because in many of our homes, as Black women, we weren't able to embrace the totality of feelings, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the number of messages that were left behind, but the message that we received was, you got to be strong now. You got to, don't let them see you weak. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to make sure that you keep it together. You need to be strong for everybody else. You got to carry this on your back. As I said, like, the compartmentalizing. I don't have time to feel today on
Yeah.
Wednesday. Now I'll make some time to feel Sunday morning, probably between 10 and 12, but that's all I got because I'm gonna be at church, right? So then, woo, hallelujah. And then I move on and I'm done feeling, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
message we got is that our feelings are intruders.
Mm-hmm.
Intruders into our life and into our space. So I appreciate you reframing that, right? And bringing forth whatever the message is supposed to be that we're supposed to get out of it.
Yeah.
And my next question, though, is how do we unlearn that message of I gotta be strong? I got to, I can't cry. Like I need to show up in a particular way. How do we get away from that and allow ourselves to be in this place of softness, vulnerability? One of our comments here was about transparency. She said she appreciates your transparency.
Of
And it
course.
sounds like breakthrough, came through that.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get to a place where we can allow ourselves to be transparent when we get this message in the back of our head saying, no, 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 you got to be strong now?
Yeah. Yeah. So that kind of leads to the part of my work where I do a lot of mindfulness, right?
Okay.
And I teach a lot of mindfulness to my clients, and I introduce mindfulness because, in a nutshell, a lot of what you're saying, the how lives within mindfulness, right? But the thing about mindfulness is so broad.
I was about to say, now you're gonna have to tell us, Tasha, because it's a catchphrase right now, right? It's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. What is mindfulness? Like, break it down for
Yes.
us, like we're five.
Yes. So mindfulness is about being present in the moment as it is, not as we think it should be, because there's a lot of shoulds
Oh,
that
girl,
goes
my
on in our
life.
head. Oh,
Oh
it
my
should be
God.
this, it should be there, or I should be here, I should do this. But mindfulness isn't about the should, it's about the is. How is it in the moment, right? The next layer of mindfulness is really about being non-judgmental, right? You'll hear me talk a lot about this categorization that we do as people: good, bad, you know, right, wrong,
The
this or
binary.
that, right?
Yeah,
These
yeah.
categorizations. And so mindfulness is not about labeling things. It's not about, attaching thoughts to things that, but being able to observe, right? Being able to observe, right? And when I talk about observing situations, whether that be our emotions, whether I be, the things, the curveballs that life throws, it's about just noticing it, right? In this moment, I am feeling overwhelmed. In
Okay.
this moment, I am feeling guilt. In this moment, I am feeling happiness. In this moment, I am feeling excitement. It sounds very different than, oh man, oh, it's a shitty ass day today,
Right.
right?
Yes,
Well,
it
what's this?
does.
What's this thing on my chest, right? So
Mm.
when we start to observe, we start to relate and engage differently with the
Mm-hmm.
emotions,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I would also say, I always tell people, I am not nosy. I have detached myself from this idea that I'm a nosy person. Growing up, I remember being in school. Why are you so nosy? You always in people's business. But I learned that I'm curious and I'm okay with that.
Can
Right?
I pause right there for a second? I'm so
Mm-hmm.
sorry because the reframing that you just did of that, where word curses and labels have been placed on us, and they may have seen whatever those characteristics are, but
Mm-hmm.
they chose the most negative word to attach to it when there
Yeah,
is a positive twin out here that we could be leaning into, right? So, like you said, I'm not nosy, I'm curious.
exactly.
That feels so much better in the body and it's so much
Mm-hmm.
more affirming than the judgmental
Yep.
framing of I'm nosy.
Mm-hmm.
I like what
Yeah.
you did there,
Yeah.
Tasha. I'm
Yeah.
here with you. I'm
As
following
soon
you.
as
Okay,
I
go ahead.
started, as soon as I put my curious queen hat on, the
Mm,
way I see the world, the way I interact and show up in the world, I kid you not, evolve. When we start to
mm,
allow ourselves to be curious, we start to explore more, right? We start to face things more versus when we start to say, oh, that sounds scary, right?
right.
We want to pull back because I tell everybody I'm a punk, right? I don't like, I'm afraid of the dark. So what I can't see scares me, right? But at
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
time, I'm a curious individual. So I'm always going to
Mm,
lean into things, right? So mindfulness is about leaning in, right? As we allow ourselves to lean in, we start to pave the way for situations as they are. Again,
mm-hmm,
not
mm-hmm,
as we think they should be. We got to get rid of the
mm,
shoulds and
mm-hmm,
start to look at
mm-hmm.
things the way they are.
So you made me think about something because I want you tell me if this is what being curious looks like, right? And
Okay.
in this mindfulness process. So if I realize, for instance, I'm overwhelmed, right? I would say to myself, I realize I'm overwhelmed right now. I wonder what's making me overwhelmed.
Ooh, look at you. I said all of
Is
that.
that yes? So what I love about this is it felt so okay. I'm sorry, I got a whole lot of things converging in my brain. My brain people, they're going crazy. So I was trying to think about what the converse would sound like, right? So the converse would be, I'm overwhelmed. Why am I overwhelmed? What's going on? This feels very it feels like a spiral.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, I recognize that I am overwhelmed. I wonder what is making me overwhelmed. Let me think about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it almost seems like it's guiding me down a path to get to a root cause as
Yep.
opposed to this path of shame and guilt and as Dre said here, the should be, right? I should be doing this, or it was supposed to be like this. So it feels like if there's there's no acceptance
Yeah.
there, it's only a negative association. Is that
Yeah.
fair?
Absolutely. And can I add something? Can
Please
I add a
do.
perspective? In
Please.
addition to that spiraling that you described,
Mm-hmm.
there's also the not acknowledging, right? So
Mm.
let's say I am overwhelmed.
Okay.
I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, I gotta keep it pushing, girl.
I
My
got to
name is
keep
Kim.
going.
Keep it moving. That's what that stands for. Keep it moving. We ain't
Right.
got time. Yeah, that's not what we're supposed
So
to do,
that's
though,
not
huh?
what we supposed to, that's not mindfulness, right? So what I'm saying is, yes, we can stop and say, I've noticed that I'm feeling overwhelmed right now, and I'm curious what might be causing me to feel this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of that, and leaning into it. But again, sometimes the messages that we receive, again, as Black women, right? You talked earlier about that strong Black complex,
Yeah, yeah.
tells us that we don't have the time to stop and to be curious and to
Mm.
acknowledge what we are feeling or the experiences we find ourselves in. And even when we do, we got to push past it. We
Yeah,
can't speak on it. And if we
that's the
speak on
message.
it, then we are not who we are to be.
And that it doesn't feel good,
That ain't
right? And
it.
that's the like, so when someone asked earlier about what made me move to Mexico City, and I was like, because the US makes me weary. um I remember I actually had three therapists at the time, Tasha. Like, I was, girl, it was rough, okay? But I remember one of my therapists talking to me about being present because I was having panic attacks, right?
Mm,
And I was depressed, right? So I have learned that depression is focusing on the past, while
yeah.
anxiety and panic attacks are focusing on the future. We're not in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So she used to say to me, to like, in that moment, she would be like, what are you grateful for? Or like, just ask me questions to get me in the now, right? She's like,
Yeah.
no, like right now. She's like, not like, oh, I'm grateful for my family, I got a place to live, the basic things that we're supposed to say. And I started saying things like, I'm grateful that I'm in a position to even have a therapist,
Mm,
because if I didn't have you, therapist, I don't know what that would look like.
yeah.
Right. So I really had to dig a little bit deeper about what was going on in that moment and how that moment was affecting me, either positively or negatively. But it was something that I had to train, because I wasn't, like you said, it was like, team, keep it pushing.
Mm-hmm.
We got stuff to do. Ain't nobody got time to be out
Yeah.
here feeling and all of this stuff, girl. You know what I mean? And it feels so different. As I consistently try to remind myself to, you're getting worked up, what's happening right now, right? And even some of the things, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm rambling, but because y'all, listen, if y'all don't got questions, I'm gonna get my questions answered, honey. Listen, because Tasha know what she's talking about, so y'all better ask these questions in these comments. But I had to like train myself to acknowledge, like you said, like acknowledge what is actually going on, because I was terrified of those feelings. And I also felt like if I acknowledged what was happening, that I wouldn't be able to ever function again.
Mm,
And so, if I allow myself to cry right now, what a day is done. That's it. Got to start over tomorrow, right? And
yeah.
I remember like talking to my therapist, and I'm crying while I'm sharing this. And then I was done sharing what I was sharing. Then I was done crying, and she was like, "You see what happened?"
There's an end.
That, and I didn't believe it, Tasha. And it seems so simple, but it never occurred to me that this is how we process our emotions. This is how
Mm-hmm.
we accept our emotions. Like, I never learned that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, it's helpful. So one of the places that I know that you work a lot with people regarding mindfulness and regarding emotions and feeling and things of that nature is
Mm-hmm.
in the journey of motherhood.
Yep.
And before we travel down this road, I would like for you to level set for us and talk about motherhood and what that is and what
Mm-hmm.
that could be, right? Because I'm somebody who does not have children. So when I hear motherhood, turn that off. Not talking to me, because I ain't got no kids. So when you reference motherhood and working with mothers, can you frame for us who that is and who falls into that
Yes.
category?
Yes. So when we talk about motherhood, it's important to understand that motherhood is about, pouring your heart into something or someone sometimes, right? Something or someone, and being able to witness the growth process that can come, right? So, I thank you for sharing, right? While you don't identify as being a biological mother in a biological sense, right? Mothering could also look like birthing a career, birthing a business, birthing a dream, right? Birthing a home, right? And so I think we need to do some redefining when we talk about motherhood, because, we live in a world where things are forever changing, right? And when we talk about motherhood, how we become mothers have also evolved, right? And
Yeah.
so overall, while I have a lot of work experience working with mothers who have become mothers in a biological or alternative way in terms of birthing and in bringing life into a
Right.
human.
Right.
In my coaching practice, it's a lot of birthing the career, birthing the business again, right? And so it's that nurturing process. For some of us, it comes naturally, right? So being able to nurture something and take a step back and watch it grow, right?
Yeah.
And be able
Yeah.
to kind of see the growth process happening.
I so love that. And it actually gave me goosebumps a little bit because I won't unpack this today. But motherhood is a touchy subject, right? There are many women who desire to experience what that looks like, but it's
Hmm.
only been framed in the context of children.
Yeah.
Right, not framed in the context of what am I putting out into this world, what am I nurturing to make the world better and to make my life better, what am
Hmm.
I bringing into fruition that wasn't there before, that's going to help people far past me, that is
Yeah.
a legacy that I'm connected to. I will use I statements. I get into this place of feeling like I don't have a legacy to live because I don't have kids.
Mm.
Right. So I really appreciated that framing again just now. That's you good at that, by the way, the framing. I just wanted to let you know that. But I appreciate the framing of it's about what are you putting out into the world? What are you birthing? What are you nurturing? Because there are lots of things, right? I have my businesses. I have this frolicking journey that I'm on as I'm, exploring this expat life. I'm
Hmm.
an educator. I have literally impacted thousands of children,
Yeah.
like in real life, right? So the discounting, I think, that even happens in the minds of those of us that don't have children.
Hmm.
I thank you for calling us into this space of this is a space where we are bringing things into the world, and like you said, pouring yourself into something or someone or
Yeah.
both is a mothering experience. I
Yeah.
like that. I like
Yeah.
that a lot.
Yeah. And, as you were speaking, I want to take it, another layer further, right? Sometimes
Hmm.
for some of us, it's birthing a newer version of ourselves, right? So sometimes that
Mm.
nurturing is what we're pouring into ourselves. So that reparenting process, right? So I can go on and on, as you can see.
Ooh,
And
yes.
and so I love the word, discounting. A lot of times people discount themselves. They feel like they don't belong at the table because they didn't
Yeah.
achieve whatever that thing may be the traditional way, right?
Mm.
And so for me, it's
Whew.
really about that redefining motherhood, and what that looks like and what that feels like for us individually.
Yeah. Oh
Hmm.
man, that was good. So Thalia has a question. She said, "Can
Oh,
you birth new friendships? And what steps can an introvert take to do this?"
yes, absolutely. You can birth new friendships, right? In terms of steps that you can take, you know, gonna bring it back to curiosity, right?
Mm.
So being curious about what are the relationships, right? What are the qualities, right? What are the things you see in the friendship that you want to grow, right?
Mm.
I'm huge on analogies, right? It's like
Okay.
a garden, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do a vegetable garden, right? Do I want some carrots there? Do I want some cabbages there? Do I want some peppers? What is it that you see in the friendships that you would like to grow? And putting yourself in those positions to attract that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I see myself being in friendships that, I'm just going to use myself for example, right? I'm all about entrepreneurship. I'm all about building each other up. I'm all about, black excellence. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to find, settings, environment, and like-minded people, right? So that I
Yeah.
can pour into those friendships and I can get something back,
Right.
right? Because
Yeah.
it's a mutual process. And so as an introvert, it might sound really scary to do this, to put yourself out there. But again, let's practice some of that mindfulness. Accept that you're an introvert first, right? And I would assume that since you put it out there, you are either in the process of acceptance or you have accepted that about yourself, and not judge it, right?
Mm.
Not judge
Back to that.
yourself
Back to
for
that.
being an introvert, not judging yourself for not being able to walk into the room and feel like that's your comfort zone. And that's okay, right?
Yeah.
So I would say really just putting yourself out there, figuring out what are the qualities you see in the friendships, what are the traits you see in your friends that you want to breathe life into, and setting that intention, right? So
Mm.
today I am going to find somebody who enjoys reading in the way that I
Mm.
do, right?
Yeah.
Maybe going
Yeah.
to a book club, maybe going to a cafe, going to local places where you can attract the things you are looking for in life,
Mm.
right? I think a lot of times we put ourselves in situations out of comfort,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
sometimes in order to grow and to birth something new, we got to come outside of our comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Man. This, I have so many things to say, but I'm gonna take this question first. Elise said, any tips for birthing a new self? She's
Hmm.
working on self-growth and suggestions would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. I would say start by writing a letter to your current self,
Mm,
right?
okay.
Be curious about what you are going to include in this letter. Allow yourself to feel
Mm,
all the feelings,
mm,
because again, feelings are energy running through our bodies with messages, right? So there's messages there that you might want to receive in order to birth this new self, right? And so, you know, starting with that letter, right, allowing some honesty to come in, right? And I would even say, similarly to what I said, because a lot of the times when we talk about nurturing something, we, going back to plan,
mm-hmm.
we might enter situations without a blueprint. I won't even
Right.
say a plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a blueprint, we can kind of restructure things. We can, redirect situations where sometimes we think a plan has to be like check mark, did this, check two, did that, check three. Uh-oh, I can't change this. But a blueprint allows us to be flexible.
Mm, it's fluid.
Create a blueprint, right? Sort of, thinking about what are the qualities of yourself, what do you envision, right? Maybe using some guided imagery. Imagine your future self, right? What is that person doing,
Mm,
right? Who are they doing it with? I would say, if you have something to write down with, Elise, these are some journaling prompts that maybe you might want to consider using as you are going through this growth process. And I'll repeat them again. So envision your future self. What is that person doing? Who are they doing it with? What success have they accomplished? What qualities does that person embody? right? What goal are they working towards in life? Right? So these questions are about inviting curiosity into your world so
Mm-hmm.
that you
Mm-hmm.
can have some clarity as far as how do I get from point A to point B?
Mm-hmm. I
Okay.
like that a lot. I'm putting these prompts into the chat, y'all,
Yeah.
so that y'all can grab those, copy and paste those, if you will. But no, I like that because I think that you keep coming around to this concept of curiosity and this concept of allowance, this concept of acceptance,
Hmm.
and I wonder in the curiosity. Um, I wonder how we would exist in the world if we allowed ourselves to just be.
Hmm.
So someone, people are intrigued by me being in Mexico. So I'll use myself as an example. Before I moved here to Mexico, I was living in Pennsylvania. And I don't know, there was somebody here from Philly. I was in Harrisburg, and that's central Pennsylvania, and I did not do enough research. I did not realize, understand, or know that it was the most traumatizing place I could ever spend my life. So, because of Pennsylvania, I felt like while I was there, I kept shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. I was working in education. I'm an educational consultant. So I was working in education and school improvement. And I was so disheartened by the fact that there are people in high places who are committed to our children failing
Hmm.
and committed to destroying Black and Brown people in real life. So it really took its toll on me. And I felt like I went from this glowing, vibrant person. I have these yellow glasses that I wear all the time. I didn't wear them tonight just because I wanted to do the whole Black thing. But I had these yellow glasses that I would wear, and yellow is my favorite color. And I would love these glasses. I stopped wearing my yellow glasses because I felt like they were fixating on me, and I couldn't deal with that. Right. I stopped talking in meetings. I was like, I'll just have somebody else say it because I don't want to be the one because they're going to have
Hmm.
something to say. Right. So I felt like I just kept shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And when I made the decision to leave the country and to move here, it was the first time that I was in a space where I can just be. I don't have to our introverts out there. I'm also an introvert. I don't have to engage in small talk because I really don't have mastery of the language. So I can just, lo siento, no hablo inglés. I mean, no hablo español. And I just, so sorry. And then I just move on, right? But I've spent a lot of time walking through the parks and appreciating the environmental factors that I wasn't able to really connect to when I was in the States because I was so busy trying to be strong and to
Hmm.
present and to not, ruffle any feathers and all of these things. So what I wonder and what you are saying about this curiosity is who we would be if we were able to just be.
Hmm.
And we didn't have to put on a persona for someone else's comfort. Who would we actually be?
Yeah.
I wonder that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Listen, I wish I had an answer, right? Because I'm trying to figure out the same. Like, I wonder, as you said, who I would be, right? And how that would impact the people I've come into contact with my life,
Yes.
right? And so that I want that prompt in itself can take us somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And through curiosity, we can get there,
Mm.
right? And so as we're talking about I wonder, I will, put it out there for those, on the call here. I challenge you,
Mm.
the next space you enter, because not this space, right? Because there's a sisterhood in this space,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? In the next space you enter, I challenge you to enter
Mm.
as you truly are, right? And
Mm.
to reflect and to sit with that. right?
Mm.
Because I think as much as we are playing with wordplay by saying, I wonder, we all have the ability within ourselves to allow that question to become our reality,
Yeah.
right? So when we talk about
Yes.
being a Black woman and having to wear a mask in the world, having to shrink ourselves because
Yes.
of the unworthiness that we may be
Mm.
feeling, right? That tells us we don't belong, right? That tells us we're not good enough. That tells us that, we don't have the skill sets, the talents, the brains, the intelligence, right? So I wonder
Mhm.
changes into I challenge,
Mm.
right? I challenge each and every one of us to show up as we are, regardless of the narrative that either we've been told or that we are telling ourselves. Because
Mm.
sometimes it's not what the world is telling us, it's what we're telling ourselves in our head that keeps us from showing up as we are.
Mm. So I think you just answered this question because Dre was
Mm,
wondering earlier, how do we rid ourselves of this bondage of feeling like we have to be strong, feeling like we have to present, feeling like we have to wear this mask, all the judgment, all the shame, all the guilt, all the things. What do you have to add to that? How do we free
yeah.
ourselves from that?
Yeah. So earlier you talked about, being, in session with your therapist, being afraid to feel the feelings, not wanting to allow yourself to cry, not feeling like you had the time. And then there you are, sort of crying, and you got
Mm-hmm.
to the end and you
Mm-hmm.
realize,
Mm-hmm.
oh, there's an end to this,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you allowed yourself to be vulnerable in that moment.
Mm.
And so when it comes to combating this strong Black woman mentality, we got to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. And vulnerability is going to look different each time for each and every one of us. True story, story time. So I'm a mom. I'm a mom of
Mm-hmm.
three,
Okay.
ages 10, 8, and 4.
Oh boy.
Okay, so my oldest is a
Woo.
boy, my middle's a girl, and my youngest is a boy.
Okay.
I am married to my high school sweetheart. We've been together for 16 years.
Wow.
We've been married for about 11 years. And being a first time mom, I struggled in
Mm.
so many ways. I struggled with anxiety, I struggled with depression, and most importantly, I struggled with this idea of I had all the support around me. I had a supportive husband. I had a supportive mother. I had a supportive mother in law. I had supportive friends. But I struggled to allow myself to be vulnerable. So I
Mm.
wasn't asking for help,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wasn't letting people know what my capacity was versus what it wasn't. I felt the need to cook, clean, caretake, manage household, manage other people. And I didn't realize how much of that was the root of my anxiety and the root of my depression.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until, I'm not even going to lie, it wasn't my first, it wasn't my second. It wasn't until my third baby, who again is 4 years old, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've walked the walk. And now I'm so thankful that I get to support other women on this journey. So vulnerability is something that we really struggle with.
Yeah. It's
And it
scary,
it
Tasha.
is. It is. But if you didn't allow yourself to cry in that session, what would you continue to tell yourself? Oh, it's scary. I can't do this.
Yeah.
But after, maybe not in that moment, after maybe the day after, the week after, the month after, the year after, you realize that, wow, I allowed myself to cry. And look, I'm here today.
I'm still here. Yeah.
Vulnerability is just an action, right? We wake up,
Mm.
We get ready for our day.
Mm-hmm.
We, go to work. Some of us, we make decisions. Vulnerability is an action. It's an action that you take, right? And we take that action for an end goal,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so going back to this strong black woman mentality, I think the first step is to allow yourself to be vulnerable. And I wish I can define vulnerability, but I can't, because vulnerability will look different each and
Different for
every time
everybody.
and everyone, right? So what is vulnerability and how can you define it, right? I feel connected to these women. I knew it would come.
Yeah, I mean, literally, like as soon as you said
Right,
it.
right. Just to anchor ourselves in just something, right? Vulnerability is really allowing yourself to peel off the layers, take
Yeah.
off that mask.
Mm.
It's about allowing yourself to, again, lean into our experiences, irregardless of the emotional process that comes after it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, I define it as an actionable thing or an actionable step, whether that is asking for help, whether that is saying, I am not okay, whether
Yeah.
that is expressing your emotions, expressing your needs, your wants, to someone. Because again, as humans, I always say, as humans, we've craved connection as
Yeah.
much. I don't know if you guys remember
Oh
INDEP,
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah. That
Independence
little
song.
that
Ooh,
little
that was
boosie
my
right there. That little boosie.
that
Mm-hmm.
that was that was my anthem.
Mm-hmm.
We pride ourselves off of being so independent,
Right. Right.
but the reality is that being vulnerable, asking for help, expressing our wants, our needs doesn't make us less independent, right? If anything, it strengthens your independence and it
Yeah.
allows for interdependence. This
Mm.
idea that we live in an ecosystem, so we are all depending on each other, regardless
Right.
if we admit that to ourselves or not. But a vulnerability allows connection, right? It
Mm-hmm.
allows
Mm-hmm.
connection. It allows relationship to build, right? So it's about, again, you coined it. I'm key. I use a lot of cognitive behavior therapy in my work, CBT, for those of you who
Mm-hmm.
might know, and it's a lot about perspective. It teaches clients about perspective, right? It's about reframing this
Yeah.
idea that vulnerability is bad and that is
Right.
scary, right? Vulnerability is key,
Mm.
right? It's key to feeling less overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's key for birthing new friendships, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these are some of the things
Mm-hmm.
we've been talking
We've been
about,
talking about, yeah.
right? It's key to mastering motherhood, whether
Mm-hmm.
that is, caring for a child or caring for your business or caring for yourself, right? So so much lives within vulnerability, but
Yeah.
we tell ourselves it's the scary thing, and because of that we don't allow ourselves to practice
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, girl, we gotta have a
it.
part 2, 3, and 4 of this, girl, because I have so many things. But okay, so
Yes.
Fawn asked a question, and this is something that I was thinking about as you were sharing about vulnerability and our relationship with vulnerability, right? As a Black woman in corporate America, it's a lot. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot, right? And it's hard to show up as your authentic self. So, as we are embracing and accepting who we are and practicing our vulnerability, how do we then protect ourselves while still being our authentic selves in our corporate setting that we may have to go to every day?
Yeah. Yeah. Whew, you're right, that is a lot,
I
right?
know.
And one thing that came to me as I was, like, taking the question in is code switching. the code switching that happens, especially for within the Black community, because we feel like we got to talk a certain way, we got to dress a certain way, we have to wear our hair a certain way. Earlier you talked about I wish you would have had the yellow glasses, because yellow is my color.
I know.
Right, but I get it, all Black everything, I'm with it. But it's about, part of showing up as our authentic self is understanding that, wow, we have survived many settings by being able to turn that switch on and switch off. But are we really thriving by doing so? Right? So are you looking to survive? Because if you're looking to survive, then, when we talk about Black history, you're like, we all about survival. But we now need to start thriving.
Amen.
Right? And in order to thrive in corporate America, in these corporate settings, we have to stop that code switching. Yeah. Right? Because I came across something on social media that says sometimes when we lose out on opportunities or we lose someone in our lives, we see it as a loss.
Yes.
Right? But in actuality, it might be a gain, right? Because a lot of the times we're afraid to show up as our authentic self because we're worried, oh, are they going to fire me? Am I going to get demoted? Will I get the job? But I tell people now, right? So I have staff within my practice. I have interns within my practice. And I tell them, I was like, listen, show up as you are, because that's going to let you know if that's the place for you. Right? Because if the goal is to get through the door, that's not good enough for us. Because once you through the door, what about that process? What about that journey? So the goal is to get through the process. In order for us to get to the process, we have to allow ourselves to show up authentically. And if that means that this is not the place for you, or that is not the person for you, see that as a gain and not a loss.
Yeah.
You have dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
You have allowed yourself to cultivate a workplace that is conducive of you thriving and not surviving. So we really have to be careful when we are conforming to what mainstream world tells us.
Right. Yeah. Ooh, girl. This we gonna have to do this again. Real life. Because there's so much that I know that we carry on our shoulders. And I just appreciate, even like with this code switching thing and the divorcing ourselves from that responsibility. Right. I remember when I moved to Pennsylvania, I had just chopped my hair off. And it was the first time I didn't have a relaxer, like all of that. And I was like, well, Lord, what's this about to look like? And I was virtual, but me being natural, like it's so many things that we felt like we've had to consider for other people's comfort. Yeah. And it goes back to you talking about even that vulnerability and us allowing ourselves to feel. That's a human right. And we as Black women and Black people have been stripped of that right. So it is in fact a revolution to say, I'm gonna let myself feel. Right. It's a revolution to say, I'm gonna show up as me. And guess what? I'm the prize. Y'all need me. Y'all need me, right? So if I show up as me, then I'm able to live in the space of where I can thrive, because I'm in a space where I'm in my authentic self, and I'm not in a space where I'm cutting off pieces of myself again for somebody else's comfort. Yeah. But again, as we have not gotten that programming, so it really is the reframing and the reprogramming that is hitting me in my inner spirit right now, that we have to empower each other to do. And it makes me think about, especially to that vulnerability space, like one of the reasons why Beautiful Brown Girls has grown and thrived, and we have over 60,000 women in this community, is because it's a safe place for us to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's a safe place for us to be able to come and have these conversations and be like, girl, it's hard out here in these streets. I don't know. Like what right? It's the place where we can take off
Mm-hmm.
those masks and gain the confidence to be able to go into the world as me. Because I
Yeah.
deserve that. Because I'm a human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, girl. Well, Tasha, our time is up.
Mm.
And I'm very saddened by it, but very grateful. And let me even say this on record. I'm grateful that we had that tech difficulty because it allowed this conversation to evolve to a place that I can see has really, I can speak for myself that it has made me think about things in a different way. But based on the comments as well, it's really helped our community to think about how we define motherhood, to think about mindfulness, to think about again that curiosity and that wondering
Yeah.
of what that looks like and sounds like. Like it's gotten us in this place to be able to connect. And something that seemingly
Mm-hmm.
was a bad thing, right? I'm like, oh my God, Tasha, I'm so sorry, girl, Lord Jesus, right? Has allowed for us to exist in a space where we were able to really unpack something that actually is going to help us show up differently in the world and to help us show up in a way where we're learning to be
Mm-hmm.
us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 Listen,
Wow.
there's no coincidence in terms of what happened, right?
Amen.
It was meant to
Yeah.
be. It was meant to
Yeah.
be. And,
Yeah.
spirit led us to where the conversation needed to go.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. So I thank you. I thank you for being obedient to that and trusting me and us to be able to unpack this conversation. So we have a lot of people in the comments that are like, I need to talk to her. Where can I get connected? How can I find her? Give me her information. So, if you will, please
Mm-hmm.
tell the people where they can find you.
Yes, yes. So I would say the first place you can find me is via my website. The website is www.wellnesstreecounseling.com, where you can go ahead and request a free consultation call for any of our services. We offer psychotherapy, which includes individual, couples, family, and group. We offer holistic life coaching. We also offer clinical consultation and personal development if you are a mental health practitioner looking to advance yourself in the field. I would also say while you're on the website, join our email list where you will be the first to receive whether that's the mental health tips or the resources that we offer via our newsletter, just to get you to tap into healing, because it's so important to remember that healing is within reach. So just reach out and let the healing begin. And then from there, I would say you can connect with me via my social media platform. I am primarily on Instagram and Facebook, so you can find me at the handle wellness_therapist NYC. Again, that's wellness_therapist NYC, where I use my platform to promote mental health and wellness to specifically the BIPOC community. I would also like to plug in two ways to connect with me. My practice hosts a mindful motherhood group, which again talks a lot about mindfulness, and it's curated specifically for Black millennial mothers to receive and give support around parenting, the highs and the lows, the stress and the anxiety. And so I take a lot of what I shared with mindfulness into that space. We also have a virtual support group for women called Discover You. We talked about birthing new friendships. We talked about birthing new self
Yeah.
and, envisioning what that future self may look like. So that's a place to start. And if you are looking to start therapy and you reside in the states of New York, New Jersey, Virginia, or South Carolina, I am licensed to provide therapy in those states. And specifically, with my therapy practice, I help Black millennial women reconnect with their bodies,
Yeah.
overcome unworthiness, and find their inner
Mm.
confidence. And from the conversation today, I think we are all on the verge of doing just that, if not continuing that. So
Yeah.
that's how you ladies can all connect with me. Whoop, whoop, Virginia. Yes.
Some folks are sad. Gisela said she's in California. She's like, what about
Listen, I
me?
love Cali. I love Cali. That 6+ hour flight though. Ooh, but I'm working on it. If you got a plug for me, let me know how I can get licensed. But keep in mind that with coaching, coaching is not regulated state
That's
by
true.
state.
That's
So
true.
if you are interested in just tapping into just another form of healing, my coaching services are international as well as domestic. So if just curious to work with me, or just curious to kind of attune with yourself, reach out. Either way, I do this phone consultation where I'm assessing and making recommendations. So if we can't work under therapy together, we can possibly explore working together under my
Coaching.
coaching
Yeah.
practice.
We just want
Hmm.
to be in your presence, Tasha. Okay. Gisela said she already sent you an email. Okay.
Okay,
So
okay, okay. It's 9:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be sure to get back to you first thing in the morning, Gisela.
I love that. I love that boundary that you just set, because that's something else. We ain't gonna talk about it because we about to close,
Okay,
but that's
girl.
something else, girl. We need to talk about is a way to realize that we have to set boundaries for ourselves,
Hmm.
right? Again, so that we can protect us.
Yes.
Y'all. So I put down in the ticker here. What is one thing you're taking away from the time tonight? If you will drop that into the comments for us, just so that we can touch and agree and just really put it out into the atmosphere. It's something about naming it, y'all, right? And that
Hmm.
intentionality in saying, this is how we want to move forward. I will say that the thing that has stuck with me the most tonight is that reframing of motherhood. I feel that. I felt that in a deep place in my body. And it allowed me to be curious about what this might look like moving forward, of thinking about mothering myself,
Hmm.
mothering my dreams. Like I can't wait to watch this replay. I can't wait to watch this replay. I am so grateful for you. So y'all keep dropping those into the comments, Natasha. You can check those out. I want to make sure that there were some first-time viewers that were here with us tonight. So I want to make sure that you all know how to connect with us. Okay. So if you are here with us for the very first time, I want to make sure that you go over to beautifulbrowngirls.com. There you will be able to find out if there's an in-person brunch chapter in your area, as well as get connected to a lot of the virtual things that we do. We have a lot of virtual programming and a lot of in-person programming that we do, because again, we're centered on women living their very best lives and being able to tap into that sisterhood. So beautifulbrowngirls.com. You can also join us on our Facebook page at Beautiful Brown Girls. We also have a Facebook group called Beautifully Shaded. And on Instagram, we're Beautifully Shaded. And on Twitter, we're at Beautiful Brown You. If this is something that you're like, oh my gosh, I really appreciated this experience, I want more of this. This is amazing. This made me feel great. We also have a VIP member space. In our VIP member space, you have the opportunity to connect with women on a deeper level and really be able to foster relationships, as well as participate in things like our book clubs, our fitness groups, our virtual regional meetups that we do, our Hey Beautiful and Sister Circle conversations that we have. Is so much, y'all. So if that's something that you're interested in, again, go to members.beautifulbrowngirls.com and you will be able to get that information there. So having said that, Tasha, if there was one thing that you could leave with the community tonight, right? They came in a little tardy. They couldn't find us because we had the situation that happened, right? So they're here right now. What is the one final thing that you would leave with the community?
So I would say you are the magic, right? And you have the power to design whatever image you see for yourself, regardless of the external messages that we get in the world, society, our family, and even sometime in our inner circles, right? So remembering that you are the magic, and if something doesn't work for you, erase it, wash it off, wave the wand, create a different image for yourself, but don't give up, right? Too many times we do not see things through because there's an error, because there's a mistake, there is a perceived failure. Remember that failure is part of success, and this is a journey and not a destination. So that's the message.
Yeah.
Go out there and make your magic.
I feel that, girl. So y'all, again, thank y'all for hanging out with us. Thank you all for receiving, right, the messages that Tasha had to share, and being present in this space, and really just supporting each other as we figure out this thing called life. We are here every other Wednesday for Brown Girl Boss, and we have conversations like this all the time, y'all. So if this is something that resonated with you, honey, we need to see you back, okay? We also next Monday have our next episode of Brown Conversations. That's where Sab and I talk about things that are happening out in this world that are brown girl related, and about the people that we care about, right? It's a very laid back and silly space, to be honest with you. We be up to all types of shenanigans, y'all. So if you need some shenanigans in your life, come and hang out with us on Monday as well. Tasha, I'm making an executive decision, honey. We're gonna have to have you back, because there are so many things, child, that we didn't get a chance to unpack, and girl, we got to unpack it.
I saw that boundary one and I was like, ooh. So
it's so much. It's so much. So we definitely, you family now, honey. You're not gonna be able to get rid of us, okay? Get rid of me at all. Like this is the thing. We go together now, okay? We go together. So no, seriously, I really appreciate you, and thank you for your candor and your vulnerability and your heart of really pouring into us tonight. We needed this. I needed this. Yes. So I thank you for allowing yourself to be used.
Yes, of course. And I thank you and Brown Girl Boss for finding me, right? And allowing me to promote wellness and taking that idea of wellness into this space. So from the comments, I can tell that each and every one of us was touched, including myself.
Yeah, and that's a win right there. So y'all make sure y'all go over to Tasha's Spaces. Okay, let me grab those handles and things again, because we need to make sure that you all get connected. So that website is wellnesstreecounseling.com, wellnesstreecounseling.com, and over on Instagram and Facebook at wellness_therapist NYC. Make sure y'all connect, honey, because I'm about to be over there too. So, okay, I'll see y'all there, right? But anyway, we'll be back in 2 weeks, y'all. Y'all take care. Love you all so much. Make sure y'all share this broadcast and keep tagging people, because the conversation doesn't stop. We can continue this in the comments, y'all. So make sure you keep tagging people. Make sure you share the broadcast. There are people that we know that need to hear this and need to receive as well. All right. All right, y'all. We'll be back next time. Bye.
Yes.